honestly, I have to say it. I'm so sorry for prejudging this thread. I thought this was about to be the most doomer, fucking loser bullshit I've ever seen. But there are actually people coming to terms with reality, and some people who are actually just doing really well. And they're willing to say it. You know what I mean? They're willing to acknowledge, like, no, I have it pretty good. And that's kind of, I feel like sometimes that's kind of rare, especially on the fucking internet, bro. Everybody just wants to swear on a stack of Bibles that they're the fucking biggest victim since fucking Christ was nailed to a cross. Casual Exchanges podcast, where most of the time we are going to try to walk through thinking about novel, everyday, normie problems. But this is going to be a lot like those super rare coffee beans that they pull out of like elephant shit. Okay, well, sometimes you get those rare coffee beans. Other times it's just a pile of elephant shit. Welcome in. What do you listen to when trying to sleep? I live in California, so like anytime I travel or something like that, I have a recording of gunshots and sirens and police vehicles and screaming crackheads that I play to kind of soothe me to sleep, because it just feels weird if I'm trying to go to sleep and I'm not hearing all that shit. So I got to take it with me anytime I travel to like a safe state or something like that. What? This is dumb as shit, bro. What's a victimless crime you commit regularly and don't plan to stop? Like, this straight up seems like entrapment right here. I'm not gonna fucking lie. This guy is absolutely a fucking cop. Like, just fishing right here. Like, oh shit, I'm down on my arrest for this month. Like, let me see if I can catch anybody up. No shot that I go on the internet and admit to committing any sort of crime. That would be dumb as fuck. What is the best thing to take for euphoria and energy that is legal? This is not recommended by the FDA and is certainly not advice to anybody. But I've heard boofing monsters is getting popular again. This one, oh man, I wish there was more going on with this one. Does a change in environment truly change your mental health and mindset, or is it just a temporary fix? The answer is, I think both, and it depends. It depends on which direction it goes. I think if you utilize the quote unquote like the fresh start of a new environment to begin holding yourself to a new set of standards, I think it can be incredible. Okay, and I think truly, I think some people, yeah, maybe some people need a clean slate, but again, you use that clean slate to do better, not to do the same bad shit, the same dumb shit, okay, that got you in your previous bad situation. Okay, because if you just do the same shit, the same bad shit, the same dumb shit that you've always done, just in a new place, yeah, it's probably going to lead to an unfavorable outcome. Okay, and this is my issue with this, because I see it. I've seen it go both ways. Okay, I see people who can genuinely take that kind of clean slate and work wonders with it and really start to change themselves for the better by just kind of eliminating people who are not constructive, not really good or influential or successful, and they also don't have any sort of aspirations to do so, or do better in any way. Okay, it's like, yes, if you start being more intentional with even something as simple as the people that you're around, yes, it can absolutely make a difference. You know what I mean? But then also you have to work to do better, or else, right, you replace all the dog shit people with good people. But then if you're still like mildly dog shit, they're not going to want to be around you. You know what I mean? You are to them what this other group was to you. You know what I mean? So you have to rise. You have to rise to kind of meet the standards there. Because if not, it's just not going to change. Your life is going to suck, and then you're going to be very confused. First of all, first red flag, millennial thread. Always immediate red flag, okay? I'm so hopeful that I'm going to find people that I agree with just a smidge, okay? I should truly, given the fact that I choose to do this, I should really have a better outlook and try to be a little bit more productive and, cautiously optimistic about some of these threads. All right, let's dive right in, and we'll see kind of where we're at. We hear a lot about how millennials are doing worse than their parents, but I met a bunch of my peers who were doing exceptionally better than their parents. Growing up, family vacations involved visiting family members. New cars were only for the rich people. Travel sports were a no-go. This was middle-class America. Since I'm a first-generation college grad, I've been able to exceed my parents' social class, and I look around and many of them, friends and acquaintances, have done the same. Any others doing much better than your parents at the same age? And to actually answer the prompt, am I doing better than my parents? Yes, abso-fucking-lutely. I have been since the day I was born. Okay, this is something that nobody. This is something that nobody ever likes to admit. Okay, but like guess what? My grandparents were fucking poor. Not today's poor, as in like they couldn't afford the newest fucking iPhone every time it came out. Poor as in they could not afford food. Okay, as in one of my grandparents literally left home with his little brother before the age of 18. It wasn't here in the States. Because they couldn't actually afford to be taken care of. The parents could not afford to feed all the kids that they had. Okay? So a couple of them just kind of went out and tried to find work, literally, like before the age of 10. That's the kind of poor that they were. Okay? And even for my parents, all of them, dirt fucking poor. Okay? For like my step parents, they both came from extremely unstable fucking homes, okay? Where people were like on drugs and abusive. And then on the other side, on my biological parents' side, okay, each one of them, like partially, actually both of them, like, I don't want to say like abandoned by their biological father, but instances where like their biological father like was not around, okay? And that was after a period where he was like an abusive drunk, okay? So it's like, my parents did not have good lives growing up. They were also dirt fucking poor, okay? They were a step up from how poor my grandparents were, because at least my parents grew up in like actual housing, okay? But still dirt fucking poor, okay? Like their clothes and shit came from like donations. You know what I mean? Like they would it's kind of like that meme. You know what I mean? Where like you just get bored, so you like go to the fridge looking for answers. There were no answers in their fridge, and there was also no fucking food. Okay, that is the level of poor that my parents were. Okay, getting clothes and shit from donations or being handed down. You know what I mean? Like from the older kids, like actual fucking poor, as in like we don't know if we have enough food to get through the week. Hopefully, the church is willing to like give out like donations and shit this week. That level of poor. Okay? Just to be clear, I never experienced even a fraction of that. Okay? I had clothes, I had a roof, I had food. Okay? Those three things my parents and grandparents did not always have access to. Okay? So we have to start the conversation from a place of fucking reality. Okay? And personally, and for the people around me and the people that I know of, either through friendships or family and stuff like that, that is the reality. Okay. So I would, for anybody, maybe there are people that somehow have it worse off than their parents or something. I would just caution you to look at this. Don't look at this through the lens of emotion to where like, I didn't like this. My parents yelled at me and they spanked me and, you know, I didn't always get the newest thing. It's like, okay, that doesn't necessarily mean you had a bad life. Okay, like, did you have food and water? Because that shit's pretty important. Okay, like, did you have like stable housing? Also pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, did your parents get drunk and beat you or each other? Because like, that would actually suck. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of our grandparents did, or great grandparents. Okay, so again, start from a place of fucking reality, and really look at like what your parents had to go to. This isn't trying to come from a place of like, oh, you know, your parents can do no wrong. No, my parents absolutely fucked some shit up. You know what I mean? I've told them as much. I've like straight up. It's just to say that like a lot of our parents probably had tougher lives than us, especially in general. They didn't have access to all the things we did. You know what I mean? Guess what? If they wanted to learn something, you know what they had to do? They had to go read a fucking book. Okay? They had to go to the fucking library and actually read books. They didn't have access to the internet, to fucking YouTube, to audiobooks, to any of that shit. You know what I mean? So just try to take all of these things into consideration, because yeah, it triggers the fuck out of me when people I know, especially, complain how hard they have it, how fucking bad it is for them, when I know their parents' lives were 10 times fucking worse. Okay, yeah, I think I have it better on most metrics. Yes, just to be clear, I make more money than my parents, but they have a bigger house. Again, like when did they buy the house? You know what I mean? Like, is it a newer house, an older house? Is it a bigger house that's fucking falling apart and needs a new roof? You know what I mean? So I just feel like this needs more context. Yeah, this, I'm making six figures in my mid 30s. My husband and I combined make more than my parents ever made. Yet my 1,500 square foot, three bed, two bath house cost 100K more with a significantly higher interest rate than their 2,600 square foot, 4-3 hand with house with land. Yeah, a couple of things. Just to articulate why this is the case. She or he, um, husband, so maybe a she, kind librarian, makes me also think potentially a chick. Um, but again, the interest rate has a lot to do with it. As the interest rates go up, so do the mortgages, right? Because it's factored into the mortgage. Okay, a lot. I do these calculations in my free time, and it's like, yeah, even if the interest rate came down like just 1 full point, or especially like 2 full points, it would have a huge impact on like the mortgage market. Um, so yeah, that's kind of important to factor in. The other thing to factor in is like, where are you living? Okay, this is something that's really weird that nobody ever likes to acknowledge. Okay, but I could move to another state. I can move out of California and immediately find like cheaper housing. Okay, I can move to from California, especially in my area. Really not going to find anything like under in my city specifically. You're hard pressed to find stuff under 400K. Um, I could go to like surrounding, like peripheral kind of cities and maybe find something a little cheaper, like closer to like 350. Um, but again, it's either going to be like older or smaller or something like that. There's going to be a concession somewhere. Okay, but for especially for the kind of house that me and my family want, where like we want a good amount of space, we want a good amount of land, it'd be minimum like 600-700 thousand here in California, especially around where we're at right now. Um, we would have to really, really look and find something that's like more a little bit of a fixer upper if we wanted to get cheaper than that. But this is something that nobody likes to realize, nobody likes to admit, nobody likes to acknowledge. Okay, I could just move the fuck out of California if I really wanted to. Okay, if I really wanted to, I could find something. I could find the kind of house I'm looking for out in fucking Spokane, Washington. Okay, I consistently find houses out there for less than 400K. You know what I mean? Much closer to like the between the 350 400K mark, or Idaho. Okay, consistently. Okay, outside of the Boise area, I can consistently find houses under 400K. Okay, Indiana, I can consistently find houses under 400K. Okay, plenty of states. Okay, or even if I wanted to look in California, maybe I just need to look somewhere else. Maybe I need to look a little north of fucking Sacramento. I a lot of the things south of me are kind of dog shit, so I don't know if I'd go that way. But again, like the problem is that people want to look at it through the lens of like, okay, hmm, if I don't change my job and I don't move and I don't change any of my spending habits, I can never afford a house. So I guess I can never afford a house. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, and there's the other thing. I pay double what my parents do for a third of the square footage. Amazing what 5 years did. Yes. You know what? The C19 fucked everything up. We really, really enjoyed all that stimmy money. Okay, this is the consequences of that stimmy money. Money is not free. Money is never free. Yeah, there's the other thing. Yep, I'm an immigrant at my age. My parents lived a very shitty life in poverty, and I don't. Yep. Mm-hmm. Very, very true. A lot of stories like that. Yeah, immigrant mindset is a low key a superpower. Yeah. No, I'm not. Okay. A Xennial. Extra red flag. That is that two red flags, bro? Financially, I'm much worse off than my parents were. Mentally, I'm doing better. My kids don't hate me. They choose to spend time with me. I'm not a raging alcoholic, allowing my alcoholic husband to abuse my kids. I don't use my kids as my personal therapist or punching bags. Again, maybe you make less than your parents, like adjusted for inflation or something like that. But again, like, were your parents just like fucking balling out of control or something? It triggers the shit out of me because so many people. I don't want to shit on these people too much. So many people talk about absolutely shite economy, financially screwed. They're absolutely no shot. I'm fucking nuclear waste territory as far as my financials. And it's like, I have to ask, like, oh, okay, so like, describe your financial situation. Like, is it just like you don't have like the savings you want? Is it just that like you can't go out and buy every single thing that you want? Or is it like, because when I hear this, I think like, okay, I'm like super crazy far into debt. What I don't think of is like, okay, somebody has like some credit card debt and they can't go buy everything they want, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, inflation's going up, so like they can kind of buy less of all the extra stuff they want. And so they're technically living paycheck to paycheck, but it's because they make sure to spend every fucking dollar they get every month. Not necessarily because it's like all I can buy is groceries and pay my bills and not do anything else. Because just to be clear, the extra shit, beer, weed, going out with friends, you know what I mean, new Xbox, new TV, like all that extra shit, like you don't need that. I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you can afford that, like, and that's why you don't have money, it's like, okay, that's fine, spend your money how you want, but then also it's like you're paycheck to paycheck because why? Because instead of saving money at the end of the month, you go out and spend all of it on extra shit. Oh, shut the fuck up. I'll calm down. So much better. I was raised below the poverty line in an extremely rural area. I grew up to an engineer in a major city, making more money than any 5 of my relatives combined. Oh, grew up to be an engineer in a major city. Ooh, nice. Making more money than any 5 of my relatives combined. Damn. Put one of my kids through college already, and we'll do the same for the others in a few years when it's time. Good for you. None of them will have to join the military just to pay for an education like I did. Yeah, that's tough, man. My kids grew up in a house that I own that passed relevant building codes in the neighborhood where there are opportunities, things to do, friends within walking distance. We take vacations. We have plenty to eat. I have, in fact, killed it. Good for you, brother. Prestigious RIP 289. Good for you. Honestly, I have to say it. I'm so sorry for prejudging this thread. I thought this was about to be the most doomer, fucking loser bullshit I've ever seen. But there are actually people coming to terms with reality, and some people who are actually just doing really well. And they're willing to say it, you know what I mean? They're willing to acknowledge, like, no, I have it pretty good. And that's kind of, I feel like sometimes that's kind of rare, especially on the fucking internet, bro. Everybody just wants to swear on a stack of Bibles that they're the fucking biggest victim since fucking Christ was nailed to a cross. And it's like, probably just not the case, you know what I mean? So good for all these people. Good for this guy fucking putting all his kids through college. I'll be honest, I gotta step my shit up if I want to do that. But hey, good for you, bro. And that's all, folks. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. That way you can talk shit on my next video too, all right?